Welcome to another episode of OG55 Live. We are taking your questions in this Ask Us Anything episode of OG55 Live. Let's go. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. And yes, we are live answering your questions. Now, I want to reiterate, we do have a new policy. I hate saying that, but policy, you know. Did you get the memo, George, about the new policy? You know?
Yeah. What do you say? What do you say?
New policy? No, we have a new policy here where we're not going to go through the questions first come, first serve. The reason being is because people that come in later, we want to give everyone a fair chance to get their question answered. You know what I'm saying? So we are going through them and picking questions, and that'll be the new thing going forward. But before we dive into our questions, the Italiano is here today. George, if you can let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go.
Young blow, but I'm built like an OG.
There we go. There we go. Hey, our boy Tones knows who that is. He knows who that is. If he's in here today, he'll bring it up in the live chat. All right. First question of the day is from the one, the only Kaylee with 2 E's and a hibiscus flower. Is there a Disney attraction that you absolutely cannot stand? Okay, here is the thing. Kaylee, not only is it an attraction, there's an entire land that I've been advocating to get removed in DCA for a long time. And that is Pixar Pier. I feel, look, and here's the thing, right? Pixar Pier and the Incredicoaster specifically. The reason being is because Disney wants to go in a more tourist-driven direction when it comes to the Disneyland Resort. And they've been wanting to do that for a really long time. How do you honestly go into a more tourist-driven kind of approach when you have a whole area of DCA that looks very much like a regional park? You know, the stuff that you see in Pixar Pier, you could see in a lot of regional parks around the country and things like that. So what I would do, Kaylee, is I would get rid of all of Pixar Pier. I would keep the body of water because you want to keep, World of Color and all that good stuff, and build some sort of heavily immersive Disney Sea style harbor there. And you're going to want this especially now more than ever because the rumor is that Pandora is going to be built over there at the Simba lot, parking lot. We're going to take that bridge over the whole, we've all talked about it. Well, I think you're going to need an immersive experience on the DCA proper side to transition better into the new Pandora over there in Simba lot. So yeah, it would be the Incredicoaster and Pixar Pier. I say get rid of it, keep the body of water, but give DCA a real immersive area. And I think that if you got rid of Pixar Pier and the cheapness that comes with it and replaced it with something top bill, like top shelf, like Disney Sea style, you change the entire reputation and entire opinion of DCA like almost immediately. But George, what do you think about my Pixar Pier idea? And what's your answer for Kaylee's question?
Yeah, I feel, and I know how much passion you have for the pier and how it's quite gaudy, to say the least, with those sight lines and everything that looks beyond, not beyond Big Thunder, but beyond to the convention center. But I think honestly a nice kind of like harbor style, kind of like what they do with Tokyo Disney Sea. They can kind of input IP in there with something. I feel like that Disney kind of does like Pixar kind of they give them the short end of the stick with that, because there's a lot of great stories and IP with Pixar.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
My okay, go ahead.
Like for instance, like with the new Inside Out 2, it's right off of the original Inside Out, and at the pier they have Emotional Whirlwind, which is basically a reskin spinner ride to Flix Flyers from A Bug's Land.
Yeah. Then now you have Inside Out 2, which has become an absolute juggernaut. And like that franchise, it's such a beautiful franchise, you know. And then now you have that ride, which is not doing the franchise any justice. You want to get, if you're going to do Inside Out, do it properly. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
But what do you think? What attraction can you not stand?
Okay, so for me, I'm actually going to go over to Walt Disney World.
Uh-oh.
And Kaylee is not going to like me with this, but I made my promise that if we ever hung out at Walt Disney World, I would do this ride with her. But of course, like with her name with 2 E's, that she would want me to do this twice. So, but it is actually Mission Space.
Oh, okay.
I am not a fan of Mission Space.
No.
I was a huge fan of Horizons. It was very classic Epcot, but I know, it's not going to stay that way forever, but I just wish that they would have replaced it with something that was a little bit more appealing. And I know at that time, Mission Space, with the technology and the ride system, it was unlike anything that was ever created that actually gives you that immersive sensation of blasting off into space. And,
right.
But now it's just like you only feel that for a few seconds during liftoff. You press all buttons. I don't know. There's this, and I know with someone like you, bro, like,
dude,
you talk about claustrophobia.
Oh, dude, you would never get me on that ride. Never in a million years will you get me on that ride. No way. No way. So I agree with you. When we went to Florida, I didn't go on that, and I never will. I'll never go on it. There's a lot of things that I'll give a chance to, right? Like I'm not a big thrill seeker. I don't typically like a lot of crazy roller coasters and stuff like that, but I'll, for the most part, try new things. I tried Cosmic Rewind, even though I'm not really like a crazy coaster person, but for something like Mission Space, it's just too much for me, man. The claustrophobia would just do me in. So next question is from Mr. Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK. He's asking here, spicy question. He's bringing up Star Wars. Duck and cover, George. Here we go. I know, Chewie. I know. Settle down, buddy. Settle down. Do you think it's possible that some Star Wars fans are so purist that they hold both the prequel and the sequel trilogies in equal contempt? Probably, Matthew. Here's the thing. A lot of people come down hard on Disney, including us, when it comes to Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm isn't a really great run studio right now. I think Kathleen Kennedy needs to go. We've talked about it. Actually, Matthew, when you were on the show with us just a few days ago, we talked about it, right? But here's the thing. George Lucas couldn't keep Star Wars fans happy. They didn't like him and what he was doing with the special editions and with the prequels and all that stuff. The Clone Wars animated movie was terrible. So even when George Lucas, the guy who created the franchise, was running it, fans were miserable. They still didn't like it, right? So what makes you think that Disney is going to go in there and be like, yeah, and make fans happy? It's never going to happen. And if Disney sold Lucasfilm to another company, let's say they sold it to Comcast Universal, let's say they sold it to Warner Brothers, you think David Zaslav is going to handle your franchise any better? I'm telling you, Star Wars fans are very particular. If George Lucas, who created this franchise, could not keep Star Wars fans happy, there's not a studio on this planet that will be able to do it. So that's just my opinion, Matthew. There's going to be people that are just never going to be happy with stuff like this. Now, that doesn't mean that Lucasfilm doesn't try. I think there's a ton of room for improvement when it comes to what Star Wars is doing right now. A ton of room, and they can do better. But even if they were doing better, my point overall is that the Star Wars fans are still going to be upset over stuff because, like I said, Lucas couldn't even keep him happy. So I think it's just the nature of this particular fandom. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I agree. If you can't be satisfied for something that you're passionate about, but yet the creator of what you're passionate about didn't satisfy your film going needs, starting with episode 1 and moving on with the prequels. And then after Disney acquiring Lucasfilm, that includes Star Wars with the sequels. Yeah, I think that there's like different audiences that enjoy the prequels but hate the sequels. Then you have the audiences that love the sequels but hate the prequels, and then you have the people that hate both and just love the originals, and then you have the other people that just hate everything. So it's like, no matter which way you spin it, you're never gonna make everyone happy. And especially in nowadays, as people have like gripes over everything nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Great question, Matthew. Thank you, sir. Next question comes from the girly nerd, Marianne. What does your ideal Disneyland day entail? Mine would include a handful of favorite rides, live entertainment, maybe a parade or fireworks, good food, and lots of chill time to soak in the atmosphere. So, girly nerd, my day would be very similar. I like, that's typically what I do. George has done the parks with me many times now. I do maybe 2 or 3 rides, maybe ish around there. We watch the parade, Magic Happens, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Hold on one sec. Since I said Magic Happens, we gotta, where's my, oh, here it is. Yeah, it's a banger song. It's a great parade. We watch a parade, we chill, soak in the atmosphere. That's kind of my Disneyland day. That's kind of what I do. But I will say this, one thing that I do miss, and one thing I do wish they would bring back, are things like Glowfest, Electronica, those nighttime kind of events where you can buy drinks, you can dance. I think that would be really fun. Bring back those dance parties on that large scale like they had them before. I think it'd be really, really cool. I miss Electronica a lot. Now, George, did you ever get a chance to experience that, or was that when you were going to the parks in Anaheim yet?
Yes, I did. I experienced Electronica, the Mad Tea Party. I did like all of those, and I'm kind of like, we're at that with you. Like, I love like those kind of like party hard, kind of like the strobe light kind of things, fist bumping up, like I love that kind of party central vibe, because you and I wanted to do that also on the cruise too.
Yeah, that didn't really work out. We were literally, it was so funny. We were on the cruise and there was like like a singing competition beforehand.
It was like karaoke.
Yeah, and that was packed. And then after karaoke, it like dovetailed into like this, like it was some kind of club thing they were doing. So George and I were like, and our friend Mindy were sitting there waiting for the club to start. We were literally the only people sitting there. It was so sad.
Yeah. Like, we thought we were going to be like dancing and we were going to be jamming. It was like we entered the geriatric section of the cruise, because it was like after karaoke was done, everybody like left.
Right, exactly. And we got maybe in the house. And you know what happens when we have maybe in the house?
'Cause I'm that girl that drives you crazy, but you're killing me alone. Got to thinking maybe alone. Got to thinking maybe alone. Got to thinking maybe.
Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe. All right. Next question is, oh wait, I didn't ask you your perfect day, George. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. So for me, I kind of find myself like in the middle ground.
Not the high ground, like Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Not the high ground, not this time. That for me, because since I've been coming out to California a lot and going to Disneyland, I kind of treat myself like a local, but yet I have that touristy side to me.
Yeah, that's true. You kind of dip into both a little bit,
Yeah, so it's like I still love to do stuff, but it's like I don't need to do everything all in one day, because it's like I know I'm coming back. So it's like you and I chilling at Grand Cali, having a sandwich and a drink. It's like, right. And then going back to the park, doing a few rides, however, then there are times like where if I'm doing like a lot of like my solo trips, I tend to like, I do a little bit more heavier on the rides and everything. I take myself to downtown Disney, go to Naples, like throw back a few, talk to people. I'm a people person.
George had how many drinks did you have that one night?
I had when I went to Naples.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was on my way.
I had 4 Italian margaritas, and I ended up stumbling back to DCA and riding Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters. It
was so funny, and I could tell you were kind of tipsy because you called me.
Yeah.
And you're always like fun and like talkative, but you were like on a different level though. at that time. You were like really talking, and like I could just tell you were feeling it. You were absolutely feeling it.
Yeah, definitely.
Were the drinks pretty strong?
They were okay. I mean, I could handle my alcohol, but it's like when it went into, I say drink number 3 is when I'm like, okay, yep, starting to feel it. And then I did the 4th one, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. He said, would you like one more before we close out? Because they were closing down early at 3 p.m. for a not 3 p.m. It was 4 o'clock because they were doing a private event. And he said, you want one more before we close down the bar? I was like, nope, 4 is good for me.
Really? Because I have exclusive audio from that night, and from you when he asked you that, George.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one for show. For show. I'm getting that for show.
I don't know. I got that from James O'Keefe. He sent me that, the George tapes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one for show. For show. I'm getting that for show.
There we go. All right. Kiki and Luca in the house. I am going to Tokyo Disney in November. Can I contribute on a future Tokyo Disney video? It would be a one-off for me, like the McRib. Kiki and Luca, I love that idea. So yeah, after you come back from your trip, hit us up, and we would love to have you on and talk.
Can I actually add to that, Kiki and Luca? You can contribute to a future Tokyo Disney video if you can contribute to helping me get over there with you. So
Exactly.
Shove me in your suitcase. I'll fit.
Yeah, I was talking to Mr. Seymour Duck, our buddy Seymour, in the DMs last night actually about that, and he's planning on going down there in 2026, which is when we were thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Like around 2026. So.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, that's gonna be great. Yeah, but Kiki and Luca, absolutely, we'd love to have you on, and you could even come on before then if you want. I mean, I know you want to do like a one-off, like a McRib, but if you want to make it like a, like if you want to be a regular, you're absolutely welcome to. That'd be awesome, absolutely awesome. All right, next question comes from Kaylee with 2 E's. Fave reality show, Dance Moms is the only answer. Oh, wow. I have to say I did miss it. I never saw Dance Moms. I missed that one. but I did see one of my favorite personal reality show is Chopped on Food Network. I don't know. I like the food shows, even though I don't really cook, but they're fun to watch. But Chopped, a great show. What about you, George? Is it Dance Moms?
Well, actually, Dance Moms is actually in my top 10. Dance Moms, I used to watch John and Kate Plus 8. I still watch, even though they're older. This is going to be like the hood side of the Italiano. I love watching the Bad Girls Club.
The Bad Girls Club. That sounds familiar. Is that where? God, that sounds familiar. Refresh my memory, George.
So it's on. As far as like from my station, it's on Oxygen. The channel Oxygen. Okay. And they basically get these group of girls that are like very street smart, and they go clubbing and they drink and everything, and they put them all in this one house, and they all have to live together.
Right.
And they form their own little cliques, and they all get each other's nerves, and then weaves get pulled out, and nails break, and eyelashes go flinging. It's like these are people that I would never like associate myself with in real life, but yet I find them so entertaining to watch on TV. And
that's awesome. Funny. I've never heard of that show, although it does sound familiar, but maybe I'll check it out like on YouTube or something. It sounds interesting.
Yeah,
it sounds interesting for sure. BJ Vincent, hey, OG and George. At this time, with Tiana's Bayou Adventure finally been revealed, do you think Tokyo Disney will replace their Splash Mountain with Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Or do you feel they will keep their Splash Mountain and create their own Tiana ride from the ground up? I honestly think they're going to create their own Tiana ride. I think that they don't want to touch their Splash Mountain because here's the thing. A lot of people will tell you, BJ, that Tokyo doesn't want to retheme to Tiana's because Tiana sucks or whatever. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think that that's why. I think it's just different out there. Like their culture is different and they don't really see the need to retheme it. So I think that they're going to keep it. They probably will build a Tiana ride, maybe a standalone ride. You never know. Maybe they'll add a new land to Fantasy Springs. It'll be Tiana. Who knows? But yeah, I don't think that their Splash Mountain is going anywhere anytime soon, although I could be completely wrong. And even if they do retheme their Splash Mountain to Tiana's, it likely wouldn't be the same iteration that we have here. They would likely spend like $3 billion on the retheme, and it would be crazy good. But what do you think, George? What say you, sir?
Yeah, I actually was having this conversation earlier with my mom, and she asked me the same question because I showed her some videos of Tokyo Disney, and I said they still have Splash Mountain. It's the last Splash Mountain ever in a Disney park that'll ever see the light of day. And she said, well, do you think eventually they will? I said to her, they probably will, but it would be on their terms. It wouldn't be under the same pretense of why the domestic parks got rid of Splash Mountain. And just like you, OG, if and when they do, I don't know. It might be Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It may be something completely different, but whatever they put in there, we know OLC is going to throw out the big bucks and turn that mountain into something like tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Florentine, good to see you, Florentine. What theme of resort would you like to see from Lowe's Universal next? Because an expansion, I hear, calls for more hotels in the future, which I'm all for. How immersive. I love every single one of them. You know what I would love to see, Florentine? I would love to see a classic Universal IP hotel. So, have like the classic stuff in there, like Back to the Future, Jaws. I don't think Ghostbusters is technically Universal IP, if I'm not mistaken, but it feels like a Universal IP. So you can maybe throw some Ghostbusters in there for our buddy Slimer. But that's what I like to see. I like to see a classic Universal hotel. You can obviously you would throw in the classic Universal monsters in there. I think that'd be a really fun hotel for families. I don't know. I think that's kind of like the direction they should go. And what about you, Italiano?
Yeah, I actually was thinking of that myself because I'm always for the classic Universal. I was talking about this on a previous recording I did with Slimer and Starship, that it's when you have like those like rich Universal classic movies, like you had mentioned, Jaws, Back to the Future, E.T., you kind of sum all them up in the parks, which sadly we don't really have them in the parks anymore. So it'd be nice to kind of put a handprint down to say, you know what, if we make a themed hotel, of it, it'll be there. It'll solidify part into the resort itself. Yep. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well said. And we have a super chat from the Kingdom Report, $10. Kingdom Report, thank you so much. They do phenomenal work over there, by the way. Make sure you check them out on YouTube. Really, really great content. Kingdom Report here says, congrats on the growth, fellas. Well deserved. What do you expect to hear from Josh tomorrow about the future of the parks at the D23 Expo? George, go ahead. You can kick off the question first.
So thank you for the question, and thank you for the super chat, Kingdom Report. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I echo OG sentiments. You guys do great work over there. So definitely from us to you, also keep up with the good work. We
absolutely.
Love it. So to your question, I personally feel like that I know a lot of people have doubts, based off of Josh D'Amaro's record of, getting up on stage and giving us these shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybes, ifs, ands, or buts, But for me,
dare I say fairy tale stories, George?
How many more fairy tale stories about your life?
Yeah, too many fairy tale stories, Josh. We need some solid stuff. Go ahead, George. Yes. I do apologize.
No, you're good.
I had to make an excuse to use my Kendrick drop. So
of course, absolutely. So for me, I definitely know that they're gonna bring up the Tropical Americas. That's pretty much a done deal because we already know what is going in there. We saw a little piece of it with the we call it Imagineering on YouTube. They've done their field trips to South America and what have you. So I think we're going to get more intel on. We know it's going to be Encanto and Indiana Jones, but maybe like more specifically what it's going to be, like the type of ride system or maybe the type of storyline that they're going to go with. I also think we're going to hear some more things about Beyond Big Thunder. I think Disney's going to want to kind of tighten that ship a bit because we didn't really get too much info on it when they first made the announcement. It was going to be Coco and Encanto and possibly the villains. Well, now that Encanto's going over to Animal Kingdom, and then Bruce Vaughn coming on board and saying this is going to be the biggest expansion in Magic Kingdom history. It's going to be to the same degree of Pandora and Galaxy's Edge. We already he has his team working on some stuff, and that he said it's going to add new attractions, new restaurants, new entertainment. So I'm very excited about that, but I think that they may kind of maybe not get into specifics with it, but I think they may lock in which IPs are actually going to go in there.
Okay. Interesting.
And then really quick, and then moving over to Disneyland, I feel I don't know if we're going to get really too much about Disneyland Forward because they have to complete the Eastern Gateway project. They may give us some small things here or there, but that's going to have to be done first. I definitely feel like Pandora is going to be like on the plate as to all I care about is where the freak is this thing going?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I like all bets are kind of on. And hey, Bricky, friend of the channel, he's speculated. He does phenomenal work, and we a ton of Disneyland Forward videos that we've reacted to and everything. But his money is on Symbolot, and I would agree with him on that. And I think you do too, George. Right? Symbolot,
yes, absolutely.
I think where it's going to go. I think James Cameron is going to want like a fresh slate to kind of work with. I know there's been kind of rumors that maybe they can. Maybe they can throw it into the Hollywood area. I don't know. I mean, technically they probably could, but there's a lot of stuff in that Hollywood area, like the monorail beam and all that they would have to kind of work around. And it seems like unnecessary hurdles when you have all this land over here in the Symbolot that you can kind of play with. And James Cameron, he's an ambitious dude. He's going to want to go to the nines with this land, and he's going to want, I think, the biggest area possible to do this. And I think that the Symbolot for DCA is where it would go. And all indications are showing it's going into DCA. How that's going to tie into the California theme, I have no idea. But hopefully we get some answers at D23 Kingdom Report. Hopefully we get some more, more concept art, maybe something showing us as to what this looks like in relation to like the rest of the resort. I think we also might hear something for Disneyland Resort for like Zootopia. I just have this feeling where that might be the property and the land that ultimately replaces Hollywood Land, right? Because unlike Pandora, which is very much a natural beauty kind of place, Zootopia is very urban. It's a very cityscapey kind of environment, and you can bulldoze all of Hollywood Land, and you can expand into that bus load unload area and build a nice Zootopia in there. And the acreage checks out. George and I have actually figured out the acreage. It would fit. It would fit fine there. And you can still keep your red car trolley, because the red car trolley going through a city doesn't seem unusual, even if it's an animal city. So I'm very bullish on more Pandora details, because that's already an official thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we hear something like that, like a Zootopia coming to DCA or something. Disneyland proper, I'm not really sure. Here's the thing. I know they want to get Frozen in there because we got 2 sequels coming.
Back to back is what they're saying.
Right. The back to back. The problem with that though is Disneyland has gotten so much love lately between a renovated Toontown, Runaway Railway, Galaxy's Edge. It's gotten a lot. I really want to see DCA be the focus for like the next few years.
And I think too, Disney may want to wait till Frozen 3 and 4 come out, because we don't know what that's going to add into the storyline that can kind of make it very differently than having it, say, in Hong Kong, or Tokyo. They may add some things to the domestic parks for Frozen after Frozen 3 and 4 come out. Yeah, no, exactly. And those movies are going to be, oh my gosh. I think those movies are going to be massive, absolutely massive. You think Inside Out 2 is big? Whoa, just wait till Frozen 3. Before you move on to the question, I just have to say, Maybe says she is a Bad Girls Club fan.
Hold on. I'll pull up her. Let me see. This one right here?
That's it.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Bad Girls Club. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to check it out. Is it still on TV, or did they cancel it?
They may have it on. I don't know if it's on regular, but I mean, it is on streaming. Definitely. They have all 17 seasons on Tubi.
Okay. I'm going to have to watch this, man. I'm going to have to watch it. Okay.
My favorite 2 seasons, I mean, there's a lot, is season 7 and season 9. But
oh, geez, you're like all the Bad Girls Club lore and everything. You're like deep into it.
I watched this from the very beginning, and then season 2 with Tanisha, the epic moment with banging of the pans.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, I gotta watch this show.
And thank you, maybe. Yes, I am forever the Italiano goat.
There he is. Oh yeah, this guy's a goat. Absolutely. Andrew Kellogg, do you think that Universal will be the new king of theme parks? I'm hearing from fans that Universal will beat Disney as the king of theme parks. Andrew, I'd be very careful with that what you hear from fans, because I was hearing from fans for the longest time that that it was impossible to build anything behind Toontown, because they have backstage stuff back there, and you can't move backstage stuff until Disney wanted to build a Mickey ride, and they did exactly that. They moved a bunch of backstage stuff. So no, I honestly don't think that Universal will dethrone Disney, and there's a big reason why I don't think they will. Universal doesn't have the variety, in my opinion, that Disney has. You can bring your 8-year-old and your 98-year-old grandmother to Disney, and everybody finds something to do, and they have a full day's worth of stuff to do. At Universal, not so much. Look, I like Universal, and we're going to talk about it on the next question from Ricardo about having a Universal AP, which I do have, and but here's the thing with Universal is, like, I go to Universal, and a lot of the stuff, it's either roller coasters, or they're not necessarily roller coasters, but they're still thrilling, like too much to kind of deal with. Like, if you don't want to get tossed around a lot, like, there's not a whole lot to do at Universal. You know what I'm saying? So, like, even Transformers, like, your grandma can't go on that thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a roller coaster, though. Yeah, no, technically it's not, but you're still getting thrown around. Even Forbidden Journey, the Harry Potter ride, you're getting thrown around. Everything is a little more intense over there, and I think that's what's holding Universal back. They don't have a lot of, like, Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion kind of things where, like, just everybody can do it. And even the stuff that everybody should be able to do, like Secret Life of Pets, it's so limited because they're ride vehicles. I go on that ride with George, and I feel like I got to buy this guy dinner and buy the guy a drink afterwards. I'm like in his lap. You know what I'm saying? It's like so tight. They got issues with that, with the 4-quadrant kind of thing. If you're young, you love thrill rides, Universal is a great value. If you're not so much into that stuff, though, it really isn't. That's just my opinion. But what do you think, George? Are they gonna dethrone the Mouse House?
So for me, here's the thing: like when the theme park enthusiasts and people in the community say that, is Disney going to get dethroned by Universal? Is Universal going to be the top dog? Universal is good at what Universal does. Disney is good what Disney does. They have their own kind of feel to it. I'm glad Universal doesn't feel like Disney. I'm glad Disney doesn't feel like Universal. But to pin one over the other of saying when something new comes along is like, okay, is this going to dethrone Disney, or is Disney going to dethrone Universal? Let's just see how everything plays out. And if it is successful, let's let Universal have that moment in the spotlight without saying, okay, can we compare this to Disney? And if Disney does something right, is like, can we not say, okay, well, they're doing it to answer back from Universal? It's like, let's just enjoy the moment of what we're getting out of both resorts, because here's the thing, you can enjoy them both. Now, of course, I am a Disney biased, as OG is. Disney is always going to be our number one top-notch priority. I still enjoy Universal.
I'll never cheat on you, Disney. I promise.
I still enjoy Universal. I see them on the side, but it's like, I still come home to Disney. It's like,
welcome home, cheater. Oh, it's funny. No, in all seriousness, though, yeah, we.
But I do have to say, every time I do go to Universal, I do feel like I have to immediately take a shower.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I love. In all seriousness, I love both. And Ricardo, here, your question: do you guys have Universal annual passes? Yeah, I do. I have a Universal annual pass. I actually just upgraded it not too long ago when we went to Universal with Theme Park Wizard and Michael Ebba, and it It was great. I mean, I have a good time at Universal. You know, I enjoy their parks. But the thing is that a lot of their stuff isn't for everybody. You know, if you have a little one, like a little one, or you have, you know, like your grandma or something, not so much to do for them. So if anyone from Universal is watching, I would suggest do more of the everybody kind of rides, like a Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. And then you got a real shot at taking over Disney. Another thing that I think that Universal is kind of lacking on is in-house IP. All their big IP, or most of the big IP that they use in their parks, are rented franchises. And what I mean by that is they're franchises that, you know, they don't own. So it's Super Mario and Nintendo, Harry Potter, all these big franchises, right? They need to step up their in-house IP game a lot. And if they can do that, I think that would help their chances a lot in overtaking Universal. But George, what say you about Universal annual passes?
So for me, I currently do not have any Universal passes. I was tempting to get one for Hollywood, but unfortunately, I passed on it just because it just didn't add up to the amount of times I would be going.
You passed on it, huh, George?
I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that
You passed on it, huh? Okay.
I passed on it.
You passed on an AP pass from Universal? Okay.
Yeah, but I still enjoy going to the parks. I love going to Universal Orlando. I love going to Universal Hollywood. They're two completely different experiences.
Yeah, whatever, hater.
I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk.
I was kidding.
Before you move on, I'm sorry. This is just the type of person I am with my personality. Can you click on maybe's comment?
Let me see here. Which one?
With the
this one?
Cheater. Yeah. Welcome home, cheater. I choked on my pasta. Maybe I'm sorry. You did it to yourself. Dare I say it? That's what she said.
That's hilarious. I choked on my pasta. That is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Go ahead, sir. I do apologize. You were saying about Universal and your pass. How you're passing on the pass.
How I'm passing on the pass and how I'm the biggest hater. So it's like, so for me, Universal Hollywood, I love the nostalgia behind that park. The tram tour is the crowning jewel of that park.
Love that.
And I remember when I saw the actual set for Back to the Future, like the hairs stood up on my arms. And trust me, I have a lot of hair. Yeah. So it's like just the fact of being in the presence of film greatness, like where this magnificent masterpiece of a movie was filmed on location, and seeing the Bates Motel and the manor, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like so much rich history behind it. And then you go to Universal Orlando and you have a lot of stuff that Universal Hollywood doesn't have. Like you have the Velocicoaster, you have the Escape from Gringotts and Hagrid's motorbike, and you have
well, and I wish we would get Hagrid's. That actually looks like a really cool, that coaster kind of feels like a mid kind of thrill coaster, like a
you would be able to handle Hagrid's. Right? I think you would have a really good time.
Yeah, it's like Big Thunder, right?
No? A little bit more, but not as it's a little bit more like it's more smoothness, so you could kind of feel the speed. It's not rickety, but it's not that you couldn't handle it.
Yeah. No, I hope we get that. I hope we get that attraction out here in Hollywood, you know. And you're right, George. The tram tour is awesome, and the 60th anniversary tram tour is incredible. And because I mean, I know back in the day, like before we were even born, they used to stop the tram, and people would be able to get out and kind of walk the sets. They brought that back. They actually brought that back. They do have a stop now on the tram tour in celebration of the 60th anniversary, and it is so much fun. So make sure you guys check that out. I think it's still going on. I think until August, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Brandon Bushnell here says, do you guys see Universal opening a second gate in California? Understanding there is a limited land, but it could be offsite, or could Comcast buy the golf course? Okay, so in terms of Comcast buying the golf course, from what I understand, the owners, whoever the owners are for that golf course, they refuse to sell. They are steadfast in that they will not sell it. I was actually talking to, I think we were talking to Theme Park Obsession when we met him at the parks.
Yeah, we did. We met him because we were over by the construction for the Fast and Furious coaster.
Yeah, and I think he brought it up, and I think Theme Park Wizard also brought that up. They won't sell, and I wish they would, because that's a lot of land. Here's the thing. if Universal, Brandon, can swing this and they can open a second gate in California, that would change the game for Universal. I've said it before, at Disneyland Resort, when you have Disneyland and California Adventure, having 2 parks instead of just one big park, the psychology changes, right? When you hear 2 parks, you think, oh man, I can't do 2 parks in one day, right? Even if you technically have the same amount of rides in one giant park, just the idea of 2 parks makes it feel like it's less doable. So you're going to have to rent or, stay in a hotel. If Universal can swing it and get a second gate, and even if there's not a ton of rides, I think that the psychology of there being 2 gates at that park, at that resort, would do them huge business. Especially they're building a new hotel at Universal Hollywood, at the entrance where the security scanners are right now, right there in that parking lot. They're building a new hotel. So yeah, I hope so, Brandon. I hope they build a second gate. I think it would really help them and really kind of solidify them as more of a resort destination and not just sort of like a day trippy kind of thing. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I think if it could be done, I think it would be kind of cool. But I'm always one that says, like, if something doesn't fit right, don't just force it, because then it becomes a very much of an eyesore. And it's not saying that in time, they may, find a way to get more land and get more creative. But I think it's also to the fact of being more creative also within the land that they have. I think that there's a lot of space that's being utilized at Universal Hollywood right now that, just doesn't fit the bill. I would get rid of the Simpsons area. I would get rid of that Funland based off of Despicable Me. There's several different spots that I would kind of, dare I say it, I would even say maybe do something different with the Mummy, because as much as the Mummy is very popular, I've been on both. And the one in Orlando for me is a bit more
from what I'm hearing from like people that are into Universal and they follow the rumors and everything. Mummy is on the chopping block at Hollywood. And I agree with you. Get rid of Simpsons. Get rid of the whole Simpsons land and give us Dark Universe. That would be dope. So there are things in that park that I think you can swap out. So yeah, we'll see. But they are, there's a lot going on over there at Universal Hollywood, so you never know. And I know that the Simpsons, the contract with Disney runs out for that in like a couple of years. So that's going to be gone anyway. We just don't know exactly what will replace it. So we'll see. Mr. T. Go ahead.
Sorry, really quick. Sorry. Bad Thoughts Studio.
What did he say? What did he say? I'm scared. What you doing, Tones? What you doing? Here we go. Let's be real.
Well, I'll just say this to you, Toads. Let the force be with you.
There we go. Absolutely. Okay, here we go. Mr. T.S. Wade. Since the Hercules musical is coming to the West End next year, will it eventually come to Broadway? What do you think, George? Do you think we can see a Hercules the musical in Broadway?
Yeah, I think in time they may, depending on how popular the show is received by fans and critics. I think Hercules is a very strong story to move to Broadway. I do know they have renditions of it at times during the Broadway show productions on like the Broadway style production shows on the Disney cruise ships. There was possible talks that there was supposed to be a show of Hercules going into the Hyperion Theater. I don't know how much of that is really, and if it's going to happen or not. I think the Hyperion Theater is kind of like up in wings right now of what really they're going to what they're going to deciding on doing with that theater, depending on what is the fate for Hollywoodland.
Well, do you think that this Universal musical could go the distance? I'm just kidding. I was kidding.
That was great.
Oh man.
But I think honestly, I think it definitely has the potential to being a great hit if they do the show justice.
Yeah, absolutely. GOOGAMP32 here says after the success of Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, Do you see a third Disney IP getting its own land at Hollywood Studios? Yeah, absolutely. I could definitely see that. I mean, Hollywood Studios, they're redirecting that theme from like the movie magic to like experiencing the movies, like in the environments that you see them in film. So they're going to definitely do another IP land. What is that land going to be? I don't really know. Maybe Hollywood Studios gets Zootopia or something, you know? I have no idea. But at that park in particular, yeah, absolutely. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I think we actually had this conversation with Mr. Webber a couple times, and it's always, you know, I love when Disney utilizes lands, but they put multiple IPs in the land, sort of like what they did with Fantasy Springs over at Tokyo, or even Fantasyland, you know, where they have the different, you know, IPs and everything. But it seems like Disney is going the route where each IP individually is getting their own land. So I think with that route, I could definitely see Hollywood Studios getting it. And honestly, I mean, if it's not going to go in Animal Kingdom, if they're going to extend out another land, I would say even put Zootopia in Hollywood Studios. I think it fits well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Matterhorn Mania says here, likelihood of Coco and Moana expansions being announced for Magic Kingdom at D23. What about villains at Hollywood Studios? That's interesting. I'm hearing more and more like rumors and people talking about that possibility. Very interesting. Unpopular opinion, but maybe I'd like a villains re-theme of Rock and Roller Coaster. That's interesting.
I will say, I don't know if it's going to be villains. If they do decide to put villains back there, because the expansion pad behind Animation Courtyard does run into the area where Rockin' is. So I think that they would just expand and add the expansion pad and connect the Animation Courtyard to where Rockin' is. So I think, honestly, in time, Rock and Roller Coaster is going to get rethemed no matter what. I feel like, no offense to Aerosmith, but I just feel like they're a bit outdated for today's time. A lot of kids don't even know what Aerosmith is, you know, and it's, you know,
we need it rethemed to Kiss of Life. Maybe we'll know. Maybe we'll know. Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, though, we do need a retheme of that. I love your idea too, George, about a Goofy movie. I think that would be phenomenal.
Oh man,
the soundtrack for that movie. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, that would be incredible.
You're racing to get to a Powerline concert. I mean, come on.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And the songs are so catchy. It's a Disney IP. Oh, absolutely perfect. Now, here's the thing with villains in Hollywood Studios. It just, for me, if they do a traditional villains land where it's like this fantasy land adjacent sort of style land with the villains from like, you know, Sleeping Beauty and stuff like that, I don't know. That feels very Magic Kingdom to me, and I can't really picture that at Hollywood Studios. Technically, it could work in Hollywood Studios. I know that, but it just feels kind of weird to me. I don't know. I think villains would work better. I think it's more of a Magic Kingdom thing, in my opinion. Unless you go in a different direction with the villains. If you don't do fantasy, like fairy tale based villains, and there are other villains like, you know, Darth Vader and Thanos and like some of the Fox properties and things like that, I think that angle to a villains land would work a lot better in Hollywood Studios. But if you're going to go the fairy tale route with this land, I think it has to be in Magic Kingdom. And next question from Maybe. She says they could easily bring back electronica, except with Guardians. They could have a kids dance party. They need to change it to an adult dance party once it hits 8. I like that idea a lot, actually. You know, during the day, that's great. You have like it's more of like for the kids and, you know, the kiddos and everything. Once it hits like 8 or 9 o'clock, you know, you start selling drinks. It's more of an adult thing. I like that.
Love that.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. So you would dig that, George?
Oh, absolutely. I'm Mr. Party Hardy. So it's like I love that. I love that kind of stuff. I love that atmosphere. I just love like just being in an atmosphere because I love the dance. I absolutely love the dance, whether it's freestyling, slow dancing. I I just love dancing. So I mean, if there's a good beat going on, I pop locked and dropped it in the middle of Walmart to Party
what?
Rock. Yeah,
Why? I got to hear the story. Why did you do that, George?
Party Rock was playing.
That was just a regular day at Walmart.
It was just a regular day. It was just a regular day. I was walking through Walmart. Party Rock came on, and I literally right in the center aisle, I pop locked and dropped.
That's hilarious, man. That is.
I have no shame. I don't.
There was no drinking before that incident.
No. I was...
That's awesome. That is awesome. Sam Chat here says, "Hi, OG crew. If you could go back in time to any year and visit Disneyland in the past, which year would you go back and why?" Mine is 1955. I'm sorry, 1995 opening of Indiana Jones, or 2012 Cars Land. You know, Sam Chat, I would go to July 17th, 1955. I'd be right there during the opening day speech with Walt, and I'll say hi to Art Linkletter. That would be for me personally. I would love to be there on opening day and experience that. That would be my thing. I'm old. I think I'm older than you, Sam. So like the Cars Land thing wasn't like that long ago. Like I wasn't there on opening day and stuff, but if I can go anywhere, I'm going to go way back in time. I want to meet Walt. I want to go like way, way back. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. What about you, George?
I actually agree with you. I'm a big history nostalgia type person when it comes to Disney. And for some reason, I know this may sound corny, I feel very close to Walt, even though I'm not related to him. I don't know him personally. He doesn't know me, but yet I have this very strong connection with him. So the fact that I can actually have the possibility of seeing him in person and meeting him and hearing that tremendous iconic speech of his. And I would even do one further. I would even go a little bit back during the construction of Disneyland.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I could
to stand in. Okay, I'm going to be on brand here. I want to stand in the orange groves.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
I want to stand that iconic scene. You know where they filmed Walt and he was walking with his cowboy hat and his boots and he was walking in the dirt and he was like looking around.
He was pacing pacing it out. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like kind of mapping it out while walking it. I would love to have been there to walk that with him, because if I knew going back in time what I know now and what it had become. And that's where I appreciate Disneyland Forever. That opening for Disneyland Forever was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Googamp here says, do you think Disney will phase out fireworks entirely and replace them with projection mapping and drone shows? I don't think they're gonna replace them entirely, but the thing with the drone shows is that I hear that they can't do them due to like this no-fly zone over Disneyland. There's a bunch of issues with that. So it might be a long, long time before we ever get those, unfortunately. But I think what we're going to see is more mixed media going forward. So we'll see a lot like kind of what we're seeing already with fireworks, pyro, projection mapping. If they can ultimately get drones, we'll see drones added to the mix. But I don't think they're going to go all in on just drones or all in on just projections. I think they're going to want to mix it up a little bit. But the residents have been complaining for years about the sound of the fireworks, which I don't know. I mean, you know, for me personally, like if you move next to Disneyland, that comes with the territory. I don't know why you'd move next to Disneyland if you don't like fireworks, or, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's what comes with it. You know, the park wasn't built last night. I mean, you know what you're getting into, but they do complain a lot. So, you know, that's another thing. So I think Disneyland will like to sort of experiment with other sort of ways to entertain guests, and projection mapping and drones are a way to do that. So we'll see. But the drone thing, there is a hurdle with that no-fly zone. We'll see if they can kind of work that out. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like that Disney would more so. I think Disney knows that notion that even though that residents are complaining, they're looking at like, okay, we've been here longer than you, so what's the deal, so to speak. So we're not going to kind of bend over backwards and cater to your needs because you decided to purchase a house right next to us. You know, I think if they were to go down that route, it would be because of the newer technology. You know, it may be a little bit cost saving wise. But I do think that they would still utilize fireworks and pyro when needed. I still think they would keep that tradition just because of it was Walt Disney's kiss goodnight to everyone, leaving the park after a long day of fun. But I do see them doing projection mapping and drones just because, again, with the technology moving forward, and I think it would be kind of a newer way to experience entertainment.
Yeah, well said, well said. James Creelman here says, this is a question for OG. I'm new to the channel. What's with the orange marker in your hand? You know what? It's actually, it doesn't really serve a purpose. It's just, I just like holding it like while I'm talking. It's really that simple. I don't know. What do you think, George? You've noticed it before, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's your notorious orange marker.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to make its appearance in every video. Yeah.
I don't even. It's just like something like I don't know. It's just like when I'm talking, I don't know. I feel naked without it. Mr. Bad Thought Studio, Tony is in the house. They need a Game of Thrones ride and big boy rides. Yeah, Game of Thrones ride would be sick, dude. And you can do a Game of Thrones ride, sort of like Flight of Passage, where you you're sitting on a dragon. You can feel that thing breathing, going through these set pieces and stuff. I think it'd be really cool. What do you think, George, about big boy rides?
So first off, I just have to say, every time you say Tony, it just takes me back to the movie Boys in the Hood, and I just hear the song "Just Me and You." Ooh, baby.
Oh, that was so smooth, George. We're gonna get copyrighted. They're gonna think it's the actual song.
Oh shit. Yeah. So, what was the question?
Game of Thrones ride at these theme parks, whether probably Universal, I would imagine.
Yeah, it would be Universal. Yeah, I mean, I wish that Universal would do big boy rides aside from just big boy coaster rides. And don't get me wrong, I am a coaster enthusiast. I ride roller coasters like nobody's business. But I also love a good themed ride. And I think if they did Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon kind of notion, then you can put a lot of story into like these like popular IP shows or movies, and I've said it for so many, like I don't even know why Epic Universe does not include Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe here says Walmart said prices dropped and George heard pop lock and dropped it. Yes. Oh yeah.
I was part of that blue light special.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were. Oh man. Bad Thoughts Tones. I want to congratulate George and OG on the well-deserved growth. The love for Disney y'all have and want to discuss with this community is amazing. I am proud to call you my brothers. Love y'all. Tones, we love you too. Thank you so much, brother. That means a lot. That absolutely does. Absolutely. I got to catch up, Tones. I have not seen House of the Dragon yet. I have been so busy, but I'm going to check out those episodes. I want to get on your channel very soon and talk shop with you. Everybody, Bad Thought Studio. I'm on that channel all the time. George is too. We both are.
Yeah.
We have a great time with Tones over there and Candid, talking about movies, TV, all that good stuff.
Which basically, Tones, honestly, before we were recording, OG was just saying, "Oh man, I got to go back on that fucking channel." And then from this compliment, now he's like, "Oh, I got to retract that shit. I got to get back in his good graces." Yeah,
exactly. I got to pull back.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, no, it's a fun time over there. Everyone needs to check them out on YouTube.
And honestly, I do appreciate with a lot of people that's part of the channel, Tone, Slimer, Webba, maybe Kaylee, everybody, Kiki and Luca, Kev, or Mr. Tech Bear, as he calls himself. I love how you guys, play into the jokes and you laugh along with us, because we love having fun. We love, laughter and everything. And that's also part of this channel too. We just love, when you guys interact with us. And that's also too why we do these lives. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, thank you, Tones. Appreciate you, brother. And Mr. Webba, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Mr. Webba. Hey, gentlemen, why did Disney change the name of Genie Plus, especially for Disneyland, if the service remains the exact same? Same bullshit, new makeup. Oh, look at Webba coming in hot, hitting the ground running. Does branding of this sell? Okay, here's the thing, Webba, and that's exactly what it is. It's a lot of it is branding. The Genie Plus branding is broken, for a lot of fans, right?
It has a negative connotation. I think a lot of it was branding. Like out here in California, it is a lot of just kind of a name change. Now in George, in Florida, it's a little bit more of substance, right?
It's a little more, it's a little more substance. It's basically kind of retracting a little back to Fast Pass Plus, but it's now just going to be paid, and it's going to be retitled just under the Lightning Lane, for which we were having this discussion earlier, OG, that it saves time with changing all the signs and everything, because they already have like the Lightning Lane signs and everything. But yeah, for as far as what Walt Disney World goes, you'll have separate tiers that you can choose. One ride per tier, so that's 3 rides per day per park, and you can do that if you're staying on property. You could do it 7 days before day 1 of your trip, or if you're just going into the park and not staying on property, it's 3 days. And then after you start using them, you could start stacking them up and whatever is available in that moment. If you wanted to book another, you can do so. What I think is funny too is that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Flight of Passage they're only available on the individual single.
Yeah, and we actually recorded a video earlier today that will be released tomorrow about the Lightning Lane changes.
Yeah, so we'll go. Yeah, so it'll be more in depth. So definitely, we talked all about that when we recorded it. So definitely, we'll get in all to that. More in depth when we have that released.
But it is to a large degree, it is a branding thing, Webba. It absolutely is. But it kind of had to be done, to be honest, because that Genie Plus branding was kind of on the struggle bus. Kev, Mr. Tech Bear is in the house. Are you excited for Freaky Friday 2? Absolutely not. What about you, George? Are you excited for this?
I mean,
yeah, you are. Don't lie, bro.
But here's the thing. I actually, in a way, I kind of am, because I remember seeing the first one in theaters. I think it was a decent remake to the classic Freaky Friday. I still prefer the original, like with Jodie Foster
and Lindsay Lohan's in this one too.
They are the whole cast, pretty much the whole cast is back. Unfortunately, Harold Gould, who played Jamie Lee Curtis's father, won't be in it because he sadly passed. But as far as I know, Chad Michael Murray is going to return. Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis, Mark Harmon is going to return. So I'm very curious to see. Hopefully they do it well. Yeah. I think if they do it well, I think I'll like it. But I mean, it's not like I'm like hyped up to go see it as if it's like the next Endgame,
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see you, Kev. Good to see you. Mr. Theme Park Conductor, another friend of the channel. What's going on, Conductor? Make sure you check him out as well. He's actually been really active on his YouTube channel. He does a live show every Thursday talking theme parks. Really, really fun conversation. Make sure you check him out on YouTube. What do you guys think about Disney adding more abilities to Magic Band Plus for the Disneyland Resort for Disneyland Forward? So more abilities. Yeah, right now, like Magic Band is sort of pointless, I think, for Disneyland. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be kind of cool to like be able to. Now, George, can you pay? Because I know in Florida, you can pay with your Magic Band, like merchandise and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Can you do that here in California? Or I don't think you can, right?
That I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with the Magic Band out in Disneyland, but basically, the Magic Band in Florida is basically your key to the kingdom. It's your credit card, it's your room key, it's your ticket.
Right.
It's everything.
It makes more sense over there. So, I mean, if they that's the one thing about it. Like, I actually always wanted a Magic Band for some reason. I think it's fun to like pick your different bands and stuff, but like the thing is like it doesn't really do anything out here. So if they can add some stuff to it, maybe that would be a cool idea. Absolutely. Let me see. Next question. Starship 824. George and Slimer did a great show the other day with Starship. So make sure you check that out. That was just from a couple of days ago. Starship here says, do you think we could see a drone show in the Magic Kingdom soon? I think it's possible, assuming they don't have the same limitations that California has, which I don't think they do, because they have that the Disney Springs thing, right? The drone show. So I'm assuming they can do it. I don't really know the legalities of it, but yeah, I mean, it's possible. What do you think, George?
It's definitely something to worth looking at, because I think Disney's kind of dipping their toes in it with Walt Disney World by adding that, as you mentioned, OG, the drone show over at Disney Springs. I think they're trying to get see how people are responding to it. How could they actually do it in the Walt Disney World themed environment? But I think in time I could definitely see a drone show coming if they don't have the fly zone issues that Disneyland has.
Yeah, exactly. And Mr. Slimer is in the house. Slimer says, just popping in to say hello and give some love to the Italianos. Slimer, we love you, brother. And you know what? Since Slimer is here, you know what we got to do, George, right?
Yeah, we got to.
There we go.
And all these dollars got commas that come with commas behind them. And all my slammers be slamming. And all my slammers be slamming. And all my slammers be slamming. And all my slammers be slamming.
One of the great drops. I love Slimer's drop. All my slammers be slamming. It's a classic. It's an OG55 classic. Matterhorn Mania here says, for Disneyland at D23, maybe we could get Walt animatronics in great moments and Autopia Zero clean energy retheme with Honda. Well, from what we're hearing, actually the Walt animatronic is happening for great moments with Mr. Lincoln. How that's going to be incorporated into that show is anybody's guess. My opinion on it would be Walt was always a big Lincoln fan. He's said it many times. So if they add his animatronic to that show, it's likely going to be as an introductory sort of role for him, I think, coming out and sort of saying, hey, I'm going to introduce, Abe Lincoln. And I think that would be the role of the animatronic. It's risky, though. It is really, really risky. They have to nail this animatronic. It has to look like Walt. The fans are going to be, this is something that they have to get right. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see if they can pull it off. Hopefully they can. And if it's successful here at Disneyland, we might see, we talked about it with Slimer, actually, I think on a video a couple weeks ago, where maybe we'll see more Walt animatronics. Maybe we'll see one, at the Carousel of Progress or something like that, which I think would be kind of cool. The only thing too, though, is I'm not opposed to them adding more Walt animatronics in other parks, but it's very easy to go from you're honoring the man to you're exploiting him. You know what I'm saying? So they have to be very careful not to throw him in everywhere. Use his animatronic very sparingly, I think. But I think here in California, if they do it well, Great Moments is a great spot for it. If they want to do it in Florida, maybe do it like at Carousel of Progress or something. We talked about it here on the show. Maybe even throw in the Sherman Brothers animatronics. That'd be kind of cool. Kind of reenact that scene with them at the piano and Walt behind them.
Oh man,
that'd be awesome. So there's options in terms of Autopia. We've already gotten confirmation on that. They are giving us the clean energy cars. I
know what I would want to do with Autopia.
Yeah, well, that says everything right there, right? You'd bulldoze it and build Zootopia.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was now I'm doing it.
No, I made you do it.
Autopia is one of those things. It's a very outdated thing, and even if they're electric cars, it's still outdated. Yeah. But it takes up so much land here in Anaheim at Disneyland. Like, we're so limited on space. We had to literally beg the city to rezone things so we can expand these parks. And we're going to have Autopia take up that much land. These little go-kart things. I don't know. It's a waste of space, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are kind of attached to it because it's like an opening day thing. I say get rid of it.
I will say, kind of going back to the Walt animatronic, I actually think that they are going to showcase it at the expo. I think that they're going to have the Walt animatronic ready, possibly, and then during the park's presentation on August 10th, I think that they're going to unveil it for the first time. Maybe not on stage, because it'll probably already be installed in the Lincoln Theater, but they may show us a glimpse on the screen, of what it's going to look like once Lincoln opens.
Yeah. No, I think we're going to get something for that. Absolutely. At the expo. It's coming up too. I'm telling you, we're almost in July, you guys. We're almost in July. The expo is on its way. Brian here says, thanks for streaming, guys. Well, thank you, Brian. We appreciate you checking us out. Absolutely. Do you think Inside Out 2 breaks 1.5 billion worldwide? It's possible, man. It's already at what, 700 million?
Over 700 million. I actually just did a tweet today that where it is domestically is the total amount that the first movie made back in 2015, and it only took 2 weeks for Inside Out 2 to break domestically. So
the amount that we see right now,
it was like a little over 356 million domestically, just domestically, a little over 356 million. That was the ending total domestically for the first Inside Out.
Here we go. I have a new money drop, by the way. A new money drop. Now, I'm not going to replace the Lalisa one, but this is just a fun little Disney one.
Yes, the world of color is exciting and fascinating to all of us. But there is another equally fascinating world, and that is the world of mathematics.
There we go. Mathematics.
Yes. Adding
those dollars and cents. And that's exactly what Inside Out 2 is doing.
And I think, honestly, they said it's on the track, I think, to hit 1.4. So it is a possibility. It may hit 1.5. It may just keep going.
It's definitely possible, Brian. Yeah, 1.4, 1.5. This thing is a beast, absolute beast. And I'm telling you too, with this movie making this kind of money, they're gonna. I think, and Slimer has mentioned this too. I think in the DMs about fast track a lot of Inside Out stuff for the parks. I wouldn't be surprised if Epcot gets some new Inside Out thing. You know, this is a juggernaut. They're gonna absolutely capitalize on it. And we got Marianne, the girly nerd. Any new villains you think might come to Oogie Boogie Bash? I'd love to see Neville Sinclair from Rocketeer, but that will never happen. Probably not, but that would be a good one. What do you think, George? Any villains that you'd like to see?
A villain that I remember talking about is that. Not that I would love to see this villain, but I think it would be really cool if they could incorporate him. Is if they were, because what they usually do is they keep certain villains for a couple of years and then they swap them out. So at the pier they have Sid, the bratty boy from Toy Story. I would love to see them swap him out with Syndrome from
that's
Incredibles.
Interesting. That's interesting. Okay.
Because I think you could still do that as a facial character. You just have to do like a lot of prosthetics. Yeah. But I think that'd be kind of cool to
have in there. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the fun thing about Oogie Boogie Bash is you can kind of play with some fun stuff like that. I mean, and they do some deep cuts like Madam Mim, the one when we went in September of last year, Madam Mim was there. Now, let's be honest, Sword in the Stone ain't exactly like a hot IP right now. But she was there, you know, so they're open to like kind of like not unknown characters, but stuff that's not necessarily like really popular at the moment. So I think that's pretty cool, you know, in my opinion. Kaylee with 2 E's. Girly nerd, I would love to see Ursula, but as a face character, especially if she was a drag queen. Well, it's funny you say that, Kaylee, because the Ursula, the animated Ursula that we see in the 1989 film was inspired by a real drag queen. I think her name was Divine. Yep. So she was inspired by a drag queen. So that would be very, very interesting.
If you all go back and watch the original film of Hairspray, the Divine plays Tracy Turnblad's mother.
See, George is just a wealth of information with this stuff. How do you know that, George? How do you know that? But everybody, phenomenal live show today. We were testing out our new system. It went pretty smoothly today. Absolutely went pretty smoothly today. So I want to thank everybody. We got Kaylee, Girly Nerd, Maybe, Matterhorn Mania, Brian, Slimer, the Kingdom Report. Thank you for joining us, Sir Googamp, Sam Chat, Starship, Andrew Kellogg, Ricardo. Everybody who joined us, we do appreciate each and every one of you. Really, really good time. We're gonna do more live shows very, very soon. George and I love doing these, so we're gonna do them as often as we can. So, but George, if you
really quick, ahead. I know we're closing it out. Can you go up a little bit, Jonathan? Fantasy Dreams question: will Moana be a land or a single base ride?
Oh, okay. Let me see. You said Jonathan.
Yeah. Right below Slimer.
right before. Oh, here it is. Okay, there we go. Perfect.
There we go. Sorry, this will be the last question, folks. So sorry. So to answer Jonathan's question, I definitely could see Moana is definitely coming into the parks with a bigger presence, one way or the other. But I feel that I think it's just going to be an attraction. I feel like they're going to add it for Walt Disney World. They're going to add it into Adventureland. I mean, it's a possibility they may do a full-fledged Moana land. I'm not too sure. I had the idea that I would love to see them turn one of the water parks into a full-fledged Moana-themed water park. I think that'd be so cool.
It makes sense. You know, it's a water IP basically, and you know, the water parks. I can see it. Absolutely. Maybe here says, don't forget to like if you haven't. Thank you so much, Maybe. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And then we have Mr. Tones, Mr. Tony. Love y'all and have a good night. Good night, Tones. I will see you soon, brother, because we're going to talk some House of the Dragon soon on your channel. So that'd be a lot of fun. But George, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir, and where can they subscribe to your OnlyFans?
Absolutely. Well, let me start off with the OnlyFans. So you can find out.
There you go.
No, you can find me on social media on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano, and of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And we want to thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This was basically a tester to see how the new kind of formula would go as far as for the lives. We hope that it definitely worked for all of you. So definitely when we do the lives, you know, we'll do our best to try to get as many questions answered as the channel continues to grow. And also just a little reminder, we don't have a date set for it, but we will be adding a membership tier tied to the channel, where it's going to have a lot of extra juicy content, a lot of bloopers, outtakes. We may do a members only live where we get even a little bit even more spicier than what we do here. Yeah, no, and it's a way to get to know us more. We'll do more like personal stuff and chat with you guys. So it'll be a really, really good time. The membership stuff will start very, very soon. Definitely before D23. I mean, that's for sure. Like within the next few weeks. Absolutely. And I will be doing some on location content starting off at Walt Disney World with Mr. Slimer. So that will be attached to the membership. So definitely, I already have some ideas in mind. So definitely take a look at that once everything gets all put together for you guys. Yep, absolutely. That's the Italiano. I'm OG.
Young blow, but I'm built like an OG.
And we're going to end this show like we always end every show with the lovely and talented and amazing Young Jin from La Seraphim. Peace.
세상이 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.